Hi, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm talking about the Federal Election Commission and their decision regarding level the playing field, an effort to end rigged debates, which is basically assisting our top two presidential system. That we do have a top two type of presidential system narrowed to the Democratic and Republican parties, and the Commission on Presidential Debates has assisted that. And that in this article, it says that the presidential debates, which are essentially off limits to everyone but the Democratic and Republican nominees, that the independent candidates are denied a visible platform, and that this way the two major parties are ensured a lock on voters' attention. And so there's a federal judge. Her name is Tanya Chutkin, the U.S. District Court judge. She ruled that the Federal Election Commission must reconsider the criteria that the Commission on Presidential Debates uses to determine who can get on stage. That the primary one requires a third-party candidate to average 15% in support in 5 national polls of the Commission on Presidential Debates choosing. The judge said that the FEC, in finding that the commission did not play favorites, has acted arbitrarily and capriciously and contrary to law. And so the federal judge, Chutkin, is not happy that the FEC was dismissive of the complaint by level the playing field. That this group, it's basically Jill Stein, the Green Party, and then Gary Johnson and the Libertarian Party, who have raised this issue that they provided a mountain of evidence that the debate commission is closely tied to the major parties, and that should prevent them from raising millions from corporations and then systematically trying to exclude anyone but the Democratic and Republican nominees. And so, Chutkin, the judge, is saying that the FEC should consider this evidence more candidly. It seems like the FEC is sticking to its guns, saying that the debate commission's treatment of third-party candidates has been fair. Level the playing field. The plaintiffs will respond to the FEC via the court within the next 2 months, and then the U.S. judge, Chutkin, will decide. And so we see the possibilities that might happen. I do know that anecdotally, that we have definitely suffered as a nation due to the narrowing of the debate at the federal level, and that in 2000 we all would have benefited from actually having Ralph Nader and Pat Buchanan in the debates. They both brought perspectives that were not being raised. And specifically on foreign policy, I would rather have had Pat Buchanan in the debates. Reason being that he did not feel that the United States should serve as the world's policeman, that we had issues here at home that we needed to solve, that it cost us money and it cost us political capital to go around punishing nations when we should be focusing on our own issues. And so Pat Buchanan had a non-interventionist foreign policy. He did not want the United States to serve as the world's policeman. And it was actually similar to policies favored by progressives, that it's called by different names like nationalism, isolationist, or America First, or favoring domestic policy, but it basically is the same: left, right, center. That people are tired of the military sucking up over 50% of our budget for actions all around the world, when there are issues that need to be solved here at home, and that needed to be debated on a national level, and it wasn't. And that it's still being kept out of federal mainstream discussion, that there's no dissenting voices, that we're making preemptive strikes, we're making strikes of offense, that we're hitting targets that aren't targeting us, and that our foreign policy is basically devouring us. And so it's causing harm. And this is one of the reasons why that While I don't really agree or did not agree with Pat Buchanan's domestic policy, I did agree with his foreign policy, and that it was out of control in 2000, and that if he had been allowed into the debates, we may not have gone into Iraq. And that 15 years later, 16 years later, that if there had been more voices in the debates, Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, that we may not have gone into Syria. We'll never know because that's not the way it went. But I do think that our policy has narrowed to the point where it's just headed over a cliff. That we are suffering, the world is suffering, and it's just not making any sense. And so, hopefully, depending on what this U.S. judge decides, maybe we'll see more voices on the debate stage in time for 2020. We shall find out. Good luck.